Project Management Insights, providing project managers with professional development in the interpersonal skills areas of leadership, team building, and communication. Hi, what happens inside you when things don't go as planned? You know what it's like. You set out your plan, you make sure that you've got everything detailed on the plan, you've ticked all the boxes, you believe that there's nothing at all that could make or break this, whatever it is that you're planning from happening. And then before you know it, something goes wrong. What happens? What happens in that moment when that particular thing that's planned doesn't go as planned? Do you notice that what you do is you automatically blame outwards? You want to find someone to lay the blame on. You want to shout, you want to scream, you get angry. It's okay to get angry. It's just about noticing that you're getting angry. What are you angry about? Do you think that the person hasn't performed their job properly? Someone's let you down. That people didn't pay the right amount of attention. They didn't just follow the rules, follow the instructions. They're stupid. I mean, I have a whole list of thoughts, beliefs about these people that I'm working with that occur in that moment for me when whatever was planned doesn't go as planned. Then what I notice happens not long after, once I've gotten over my anger a little bit, is that sometimes I go into a space of blaming myself. It then gets into the space of, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What should I have said? What should I have done? What information should I have provided? And I start to beat myself up about my abilities, my skills, and the job that I've done in that moment. And this doesn't help either me or the team when I do that, because all of a sudden I've gone from focusing on the task at hand and the present, which is the fact that something hasn't worked the way it should have, to an inward focus. And or that, I mean, that's of no value, because in that moment the focus needs to be on dealing with whatever the issue is and getting support to get it fixed, getting support to have it made right. And if you happen to be the sort of person that does the blaming and the thinking in the hours after work, when you get home, when your mind starts going over and over and over and over what went wrong, what didn't work, why it didn't work, and then you start blaming yourself, then what are you doing in that moment but creating suffering for yourself? Because when you're at home, away from work, generally, unless you're one of those project managers that works 24 hours a day because you have all of your, phone, computer, everything connected, and you're checking messages every 2 minutes of the day, unless you're one of those project managers, it's downtime. When you leave the office for the day, and I mean in the context of what your standard working day is, even if you're working remotely, then it's time to shut off and be present with where you are in that moment, whether that's at home, on your own, at home, with your family, whatever it is that you're doing that's not work. This is where you need to be able to notice that your mind is in that overspin mode. What I like to do is to write down what's going on in my mind. So I write down all the things that are going on, and that might be the statements like, John should have let me know that it wasn't going to work. Peter should have told me that there was a problem with blah, blah, blah. Write it down. write down whatever it is that's going on in your mind. Get it out of your mind and onto paper. You will find that by writing it on paper, it helps you to feel that little bit better, because it's as if by putting your thoughts on paper, at least then they're in a physical form and they're not just swirling around in your head anymore. And this does help, believe me. I've done it many, many times. So blaming is something that I notice happens automatically sometimes when things don't go right. And whether it's blaming outwards or blaming myself, none of it is valuable for either me or the team. So be aware of when you go into this blame space and what you do, what your reaction is. If you want to blame outwards and that's what you do, you go and you might bawl somebody out. You might scream and yell at them, or be passive aggressive around them where you're, in a seemingly calm mood and yet underneath you're seething and you just want to strangle them. Whether you send email messages that may or may not be misconstrued by your words, or you are very strong in your messaging in your emails, blaming does not work. It is the worst thing you can do in a situation when something doesn't work. The best thing you can do is take some time to get yourself calm. Do whatever it takes to do that. And you're going to tell me you don't have the time. I'm going to tell you you do have the time, and that it's important that you take the time for the team and for the project and for yourself. Take the time to get calm. Take the time to express your emotion. I'm not saying don't have the emotion. I'm not saying shut down the emotion. What I'm saying is allow yourself to be angry, and then be angry on paper. Write the angry email to the people that you think created the problem. Don't send it. Write it anyway. It helps get it out of your system. Once you've done that, you will then notice that you come back to a place of more rationality. And from that place, you might then be able to approach the team. And I would make it a team thing. Get the team together and say, okay guys, this is what's happened. How can we rectify this? And get them to give you the solution. This is about teamwork. It's not about you. It's not about the person that might have created the problem or messed up the plan or not done something as they should. This is about teamwork. Something in this team hasn't worked. So find out what it is. Get it dealt with in a way that's both constructive and rational. It's the best way to have an outcome. Because if you go into blame mode and you criticize and you jump at, point fingers at, get angry at a member of the team or a group in the team, they're going to get emotional back. And that's not going to be good in terms of getting an outcome. So understand that the more emotional you are, the more emotional the team members are going to be in reaction to you. So the best thing you can do is get calm. When you're calm, they'll be calm. And from calm comes rationality. And in a rational space, you will all be able to find an answer to be able to move the project forward, back on track, back into following the plan that you had devised in a way that will mean you will and can bring the project back on track and deliver it just the way you meant to. Hope this helps, because oftentimes we don't understand that the emotion might be there, and we mightn't allow ourselves to get in contact with it. We might not allow ourselves to understand that when we're emotional, it takes us away from rationality, and rationality is what works. So I'm hoping that this gives you an insight into what happens when you get emotional, especially when it comes to anger and blame, and how to work with that in a very different way. Till next time. Thank you for listening to this Project Management Insights podcast. Be sure to visit projectmanagementinsight.com and sign up for our monthly newsletter or to receive updates on upcoming training.